The NBA regular season is almost over, and for the last 2 weeks to 4 weeks, there's been a lot of debate and discourse about who the MVP for the NBA regular season should be. Now, I think Shea has kind of closed the door on that. He's had a really great stretch here lately, and just for the entirety of the season, I really think at the end of the day that it's really not going to be that close, and that Shea will be the MVP this year. But I really want to take it a step further and talk about why I think Shea is pretty clearly the best player in the NBA. Hello, my name is Nathan, and this is Thunder Up Talk. If you like this video, if you like my channel, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to talk about 5 points to kind of explain and give my case as to why I think Shea is the best player in the NBA. And I'd love to hear after the video if you agree, or if you don't agree, kind of let me know where you don't agree with me at. So, number one, consistency. He is the most consistent NBA star, NBA player in the league right now. Just to start off with, he scored 140 points, or 100. He scored 20 points in 140 straight games. Pretty impressive. Luka has now had 44 30-plus point games, but Shea's right under him with 43. So that is just, again, it shows Shea's baseline, the basement of where he's at, and you just know night in, night out, he's good for 20 points. When I look at some of the other stars, so I'll talk about Victor Wembanyama. He's had games of 9 points, 10 points, 12 points this year. Even Luka, he had 19 points on 7 of 20 from the field. Just last night, he only had 12 points, and he was 3 of 10 from the field. So, some pretty bad games. Luka did have to leave the game early, but he was not going to get to 20 points last night. In fact, I think before he got hurt, I think JJ was probably going to pull him out within the next couple of minutes. And then even Jokic, he's had games of 14, 14, and 16 points. And Shea has now gone a season and a half without scoring under 20 points in a game. It's just absolutely incredible. And when you have, a baseline of that every night, a floor of 20 points or more every single night, that's super impressive. And he can still match the guys who can score 30, 40, 50 points in a game. We've seen it just recently. Shea kind of drug the Thunder to a win. He scored 47 points, and they needed every single point that he scored that night to win the game. So he has an incredibly high floor while still having a ridiculously high ceiling. And he's just super consistent. Number two, winning. So I think this is super impressive. It's kind of a basic stat, but just leading a team to 65 or more wins in 2 seasons, in back-to-back seasons, is super impressive. And I believe he's going to do that this year. But when I look at some other metrics, some advanced stats, win shares, which are basically just how many wins did this player contribute to their team. Shea, as of yesterday, he led the league in win shares. He's at 14.7. Jokic is really close at 13.9. But then when you break it down and you can look at win shares per 48 minutes, just to kind of try to make it even more fair and individualized, Shea still leads the league in win shares per 48 minutes. He's at 0.33. Jokic is at 0.31. And then there's a pretty significant drop-off. Wemby is at 0.25, and Luka all the way down at 0.21. And I think you see that drop down with Wemby, obviously probably because of the offensive side of things. His offensive win shares were quite a bit lower. And then, of course, we know with Luka, his defensive win shares were going to be significantly lower than Wemby and Shea for sure, which is why he came in fourth for the win shares per 48 minutes. So He's consistent, he wins, and then you just have to look at his efficiency just because it's historic. So he is shooting 55% from the field. And for a high usage, high volume guy, that's absolutely incredible. In fact, when you really start looking at those kind of numbers, there's really only one other name that starts to pop up. His initials are MJ. So to be shooting like the GOAT isn't a bad thing. It's a pretty spectacular thing. And he's been super efficient now for several years. But this year, at that 55% number, averaging 31 points a game, is just ridiculous. And here's just another stat to back up why Shai is just so efficient. So he is the only guard in the top 10 in the NBA for true shooting percentage. So true shooting percentage is kind of the gold standard now because it takes into account everything, threes, twos, free throws, all the above. And he's seventh in the league, and that may not sound super impressive, but again, when you look at it, the only guard in the top 10. And that's because the bigs, the centers, the power forwards, whatever you want to call them, they are getting layups, they're getting dunks, oops. Players are creating for them oftentimes. This is super impressive because Shai is creating almost all of his shots on his own. So his efficiency and numbers are ridiculously spectacular. And then I kind of put into account turnovers into the efficiency category. And when you compare turnovers with Shai to other high usage guys like Luka, it makes him look even more impressive. And then number 4, I want to talk about something. It's just kind of the eye test. Just watching him, there are some stats to back this up. But Shai is just the most clutch player in the league right now. He's spectacular. There's no other player that I want to have the ball in their hands in the fourth quarter or in overtime in these high pressure moments than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There are other greats that, I wouldn't mind having if they had the ball for my team, but Shai has just been incredible. I think there were some stats about how he hadn't missed a shot in fourth quarters and overtimes in so many games or so many quarters. And even if he had missed one or two, he just dominates in those high pressure moments. And it's because he can do whatever the heck he wants to at any given moment. He can really do one of 4 things. He'll get to the rim. He'll get to the rim and get fouled, so free throws. He'll get to that mid-range shot that is I just fully expect to go in every single time. Or he'll go to that step back 3 that just looks so effortless now. And we've watched him throughout the season get to that step back 3 in pivotal moments. So we've seen him win games twice within a game, hitting big threes. I think that was against the Nuggets when he had to hit 2 back-to-back threes. We've seen threes wiped away because of questionable offensive fouls, and then he just goes, all right, I'll dominate in overtime. And there was a span where he had a couple of games where it was just big 3 after big 3. My favorite may have been when Draymond was guarding Shai. Somebody comes to set a screen, probably Isaiah Joe or somebody. Shai goes, nah, I got this, and then just hits a 3 in Draymond Green's face. So he just feels comfortable in those moments, and it's awesome to watch him navigate in those high pressure situations. And then number 5, this is just pretty simple, but with Shai, there just are no clear limitations in his game. Offensively, he's top 1, top 2 offensive players in the league right now. And even within the offensive game, there really aren't any limitations. I said it before, but he can get to the rim. He's got the mid-range. He's probably the best mid-range shooter in the league. He's got the 3, which wasn't always a weapon, but has become a weapon for him. And then, of course, he's a 90% free throw shooter, and that is also a weapon. Regardless of what Twitter and the media might tell you, getting fouled is a good thing. Getting to the free throw line is a great thing. Defensively, he's not the best perimeter player, defensive player on the Thunder, and that's kind of not even fair to him. We just have so many great defenders. But if he gets switched on to the other team's best guy, I'm not scared. He can hold his own, and he definitely plays defense. Um, he'll get a weak side block every now and then just to kind of remind you, like, yeah, I can do that too. So with other guys that I look at, just easy ones with Luka and Jokic, there are definitely limitations defensively, and I don't care that Luka Doncic somehow got nominated for 1 month for the Defensive Player of the Month. All you had to do is watch the Thunder game last night and see Luka get cooked over and over by Shai, and you know that Luka's not a defensive stopper at all. So I think pretty clearly Shea is the much better defender than both of those guys. And then there are guys like Wemby and Giannis who are both spectacular defensively, but there are limitations in their offensive game. Wemby's not a guy yet, and maybe he'll become this. But he's not a guy where he's just getting the ball and creating for himself over and over and over and over and over. Especially, and we really haven't seen it in big moments yet as well. And same with Giannis, there are limitations with him. If you can stop him from getting to the rim, which is difficult, but if you can, the outside shooting is definitely a limitation. And even free throws have kind of been a limitation for him throughout his career. So at the end of the day, I think Shai is just clearly the best player in the NBA because of his consistency, because of his impact winning, not just actual wins, but the advanced stats backing that up. His efficiency, especially when we're talking about efficiency from a guard, he's the most clutch player in the NBA, and there just are no real holes or limitations in his game. So with that, I will talk to you later. Have a wonderful day, and Thunder up.